Tony, as a guy that's heavily involved in basketball, are you seeing more kids play basketball now than you did 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, and as I said, as a hockey dad, and I face those bills with my own son as far as the AAA stuff. Thankfully, he's growing out of that. But no, it is a big ticket item, and as a guy now coaching in the club system in basketball, it's still an inexpensive sport. Yeah, you just need a T-shirt, shorts, and a pair of shoes. Pay for some gym time. So I'll use my example is when I it was $6,000 or $7,000 for my kid to play hockey, AAA hockey, whereas now I'm looking at a kid needs to pay at least $1,000 to $1,200 for the year. But don't forget, these are also kids from a different demographic that can't even afford to pay the $1,200 to play basketball. So we're still facing the same, a different sort of let's say class structure. But I think more people are playing it just because it is less expensive than your hockeys and your figure skatings and whatever else you put your kids into. But between basketball and soccer, I just see I know that there's a flux of people playing it just because of the equipment issues that you have to face are low. I mean, I spent thousands of dollars on hockey sticks for my son. Yeah. It's just it's crazy.
So let me throw this hypothetical out at you, Tony, and this is purely hypothetical. Let's say the Raptors continue to move up and make the second round of the playoffs. And then maybe in 2 years, they sign free agent Kevin Durant, thanks to Drake's help. And they maybe get to a final. Maybe in 3 or 4 years, maybe in 4 years, win a championship or get to the NBA final.
That's a lot of maybe.
It's a lot of hypotheticals.
I love what you're smoking.
A lot of hypotheticals, but just hear me out. Well, and the Leafs continue on this road to maybe playoffs, maybe not. Not so much awfulness, but mediocrity. Is it possible in 5 years, if the Raptors continue to grow, they are Canada's NBA team, and I know the Leafs have history, I know they have tradition, is it possible that the bar or that the gap between the Raptors and the Leafs as far as eyeballs and as far as popularity could be closing and be closer if some hyphypotheticals happen?
Hey, Bob Marley, what are you smoking, man?
I'm just saying, if
the Leafs are going to be king, they run the town. I think it's going to. Let's say it will close just because of the excitement of the Canadian factor in the NBA. Right. People are actually talking about because we've had the first overall picks in the last couple of years, and just the resurgence of more Canadians playing in the NBA makes basketball more relevant. And then with the pop, with the performance of the Raptors, if they start, making a couple of rounds, making this year the Eastern Conference wide open. Yeah. I like the Raptors' chances. I mean, at the end of the day, George Paul going down to with that injury with Indiana. I mean, that it kind of opens things up. Obviously, LeBron leaving Miami, going to Cleveland. I still like the Raptors' chances and at least get contending for an Eastern Conference championship. So you don't have to be smoking too much to realize they are a contender in the East. But as I said, I think the excitement of having Andrew Wiggins and Anthony Bennett, Nick Stauskas, these are household names now because you got sports fans that know some of these names, and that was not the case when you asked a hockey fan, who's the number one pick overall in the NBA. They know now.
Right, and I guess there's just a follow-up to that. Are the Raptors Canada's team? When the Raptors had their nice first-round run a few months ago, people in Toronto, the basketball fans and the bandwagon jumpers got excited. Were people in Ottawa watching? Were sports fans in Ottawa paying attention to the Raptors?
To some degree. Again, the fringe guys, I think if you look, and I'm sure Bill can attest, is that, like hockey teams, you're always going to market your superstars, and I think that's really what the NBA does, is they market superstars. So, Toronto, I'm a big Toronto Raptors fan just because I'm Canadian, but, a lot, like the NBA just markets superstars. It's the LeBron James, it's the Kevin Durants, it's the Kyrie Irvings. I mean, they really do market the stars and not the teams necessarily, and that's kind of, again, I think that it's always been their marketing initiative there.
The NBA, the Raptors are the only team in Canada, so you can't make that. You can't make that comparison because people in Calgary aren't going to give two craps about the Leafs. They're not even going to care about the Edmonton Oilers.
But will the people in Calgary care if the Raptors do well? If you're a sports fan in Calgary?
I think there's interest in Canada for the same reason. I'll give you another example.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a lot more interest now in tennis because you've got two marketable young tennis players, whereas otherwise, there wasn't. Plus, you've got the TVs all over this. So there's going to be a resurgence now in tennis. There's going to be a resurgence in basketball because now you've got
You think we'll see more kids playing?
Well, I think you're going to have Canadians saying, you know what? I think I could become like these people because look what's happened. Look what's happening in basketball. With hockey, and again, here's an example. What if the top player selected in the NHL draft is not a Canadian? See, there's
happened before, though.
It's happened a lot, but what I'm saying is it's not Canada's game anymore, but Canada's starting to become more proficient in other sports than just what is considered our game, hockey.
Right. I got you. Okay.
And I wasn't smoking, by the way. Not what you were smoking. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just telling you, if I and Bill, I know has talked about this on past shows, and maybe I'm a bit crazy, but if I'm a member of the Maple Leafs management team or whatever, and I see the ethnic groups in our area, in the GTA, I see the price and the cost to play hockey, and I see how basketball is becoming more popular, how tennis, how soccer, European soccer. If you got 30 kids in this room, I bet you 3 or 4 of them will tell you their favorite team isn't an NHL team or an NBA team, it's a Premier League team.
And that's all we're waiting for right now is to some Canadian kid who's going to really make it big in soccer, and that'll...
Like if I'm the Maple Leafs, I'm not petrified, but I am a bit worried about what may be coming down the 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Am I crazy, Bill?
You're not crazy, Tony.
Thank you.
I think what we have to take into account, and I think we all are, is hockey is a part of the Canadian mosaic. The Leafs, since 2003, have been just the worst possible collection of professional hockey players that they've ever put together. And since 1967, have not won. But they are still a national team. Vancouver hates them. Calgary hates them.
True.
But there are a number of people in Vancouver, in Calgary, that just love them. They're in-closet Leaf fans that come out when your team is bad and their team is good, and their team is Toronto. I mean, when I was at the Leafs, we would have more fans in Edmonton than Edmonton had. We would do the same in Calgary. Vancouver was similar, but Edmonton was the most noticeable. And Ottawa, I mean, if Ottawa, as Tony has pointed out, and I think accurately, does not have a good team this year, you'll see when Toronto was into Ottawa, and Toronto isn't going to have a good team. But there'll be more people in that building with Toronto Maple Leaf sweaters on than there will be with Ottawa.
And Bill, it's louder for a Leaf goal than it is for a Sens goal, whether we're good or bad. It is wild.
And they can get the tickets, and they drive up in 4 hours.
Exactly.
Tradition, history.
So I don't think the Leafs will ever. I shouldn't say that. Will ever falter. This ownership group has to pick up its pants, but I don't think we have to worry over the next 25 years. It's a different crowd that's going to be the basketball fan, and you only have to go to a basketball game to see that. And that will be the group that will make the Raptors their team, and Calgary and Edmonton and Vancouver don't give a damn about it.